Hi everybody, this is Laszlo Vasco with Micro Adventures. Today I'm here with my 1991 Honda Beat, which is a Japanese only market K car. And we're going back in the 90s when I guess ties were maybe still fashionable. The Honda Beat was only marketed in Japan, and now that they're over 25 years old, people have started to import them into the United States as antique cars. So I purchased mine here. I've never heard about them. I was on the lookout actually for a Toyota MR2 Spider, and I didn't like the samples that I found, and when I came across this I just fell in love with it and bought it on the spot. But the K car category in Japan, which is by the way spelled K-E-I, and it defines a class of cars that are very small and very economical. They had to fit into a box, which is actually this, if you can imagine it. Well, it was taller. You may have seen mini trucks on the roads zooming about. Honda and other makes made mini trucks which fit into this space, as well as miniature vans, which were the exact box that the car had to fit into. But there were a couple sports cars. Actually, there were exactly 3 sports cars manufactured in this K category, and they're called the ABCs of K sports cars. The first one was the, not necessarily in that order, but the A is the Otozem AZ1, which was a collaboration between Suzuki and Mazda, and that was a mid-engined hardtop gull-wing car, which is quite desirable and collectible. The second one is the Honda Beat, so that's the B. And then the third one is the Suzuki Cappuccino, which was a front-engined roadster that somewhat looks like a very, very miniature version of the Cobra, at least in my opinion. But anyway, so the Honda Beat was manufactured by Honda between 1991 and 1996, and it's notable for being the last car that Soichiro Honda, the founder of Honda Motors, himself oversaw the development of before his passing away. It was also designed by Pininfarina, the famous Italian design firm that worked on, well, a lot of different car projects, and of course a number of Ferraris as well. And so let's go take a look at it in more detail. So one of the things which may not be visible from this view, but the engine in this car is in the middle. So it's a mid-engined roadster, and in fact they call it midship amusement. So one of the stickers on it is midship amusement, and it handles quite well, and it's a very fun car to drive, and we'll take it out on the roads in a second. But let's go check out its other features. First, I'm going to put the top down because it is hot. The top comes up off relatively easily, and that's that. So walking around the car, what is really neat is the design that went into all the details. And I'm not sure how well it comes out in the video, but the car, when you're sort of close to it, doesn't look small, and that's because everything is sort of proportional. From the headlights to the door handles. Look at these tiny door handles. I can just get 2 fingers underneath them. Here's the midship amusement sticker. The very cute little gas cap, which, by the way, is released over here with a knob. This is kind of really hard to figure out otherwise, but that's what pops out. That's the release for the gas cap, and pops it out. It hardly, the fuel tank, I don't know, it's right around like 5 gallons, but don't quote me on that. It's very small, and the engine is very economical. So one of the other categories for K cars was that the engine needed to be below 660 cc's, and this one is right below it, around 656 cc's, and the horsepower needed to be at or under 63 horsepower. So this car is actually exactly 63 horsepower, along with the other K category sports cars that I just mentioned. So right here, you got to see, the engine is actually quite hard to see. It's stuck in the middle with a tiny trunk. And oh my, what do I have here? I actually have 2 cameras from the 90s, the start of the digital era. I have an Olympus digital 500L that I kind of thought fits with the whole styling of the whole car. Very futuristic. And a Minolta Dimage. I think these are from maybe 94 and 96 or something like that, is when those were announced. So a little bit after the car. And we're not going to talk about those. We'll review those cameras in another episode. But you can see how tiny the trunk is. It's perfect for me to go to the to the local Asian restaurant and pick up takeout. Fits right in here, and it's kept nice and warm by the engine. and that's about it for trunk space. With the top up, you have sort of a rear shelf there underneath the top where you could also store a couple things, I suppose. And usually I just drive it on my own and I just shove things in here. So yes, the car is right-hand drive. In Japan, the steering wheel is on the right side. And going around, you can continue to see the detail that went into this design, making it, including the Honda logo, is smaller. I have ordered replica Japanese plates. These are not real because K cars had a yellow plate in Japan, and I did not want to get a yellow plate. This is from Osaka Prefecture. I had a number of trips to Osaka, so hence my desire to pick that. And but anyway, I wanted to stay with the black theme to match it with the car. Nobody in the US would know that it needs yellow tags anyway. And the other thing is that these wheels are not original to the car. These are sort of aftermarket rims. They came with the car when I bought it. The original ones are sort of really neat telephone dial type of wheels with a lot more holes than Porsche used to have on their 924, 944 series, but sort of a similar style, which is pretty neat. Fortunately, these don't have it, although the benefit I have is that originally the wheels on this car is that the front is smaller than the rear. So these are now both 14-inch wheels. You might be shocked to hear 14 to begin with, but originally the front would be 13 and the car would be sort of canted down a little bit towards the front. I'm glad it's got the bigger wheels, and in fact I put larger tires on it in an attempt not to be swallowed up by potholes when I drive this thing. I know it's got to be, I should park it next to another car for you to see, but a Honda Accord looks like a huge SUV next to this car. You might be wondering how hard it is to drive a right-hand drive car, and well, I guess that all depends. I used to have a lot of business trips to the UK, and so I would usually rent a car. And initially, that was quite a challenge, but over time, it became sort of quite natural. Initially, everything was very odd, and I would used to always rent automatics. But then, as you started to get used to it, it started to become second nature. So when I hopped into this car, the odd thing was that I kept driving on the other side, so it was all natural to drive a right-hand drive car for me, but it was to drive it on the left side. So it took a little adjustment, but not too long, to get used to driving a right-hand drive car on the right side. And partially, it's actually kind of neat. You can really avoid potholes better, which is quite important for a small car like this. Let's get this RPM. The suspension is a little soft, but it just actually further makes it very exciting to drive. It's actually pretty fun drifting through the it handles well, just like you would expect the mid-engine car to handle. It's very neutral, and so yeah, and especially with the thinner tires, which I actually love, it makes driving a lot more exciting, and that these originally have, and the softer suspension, which is even more softer since I have a little bit higher profile tires. I have 65 dimension tires on it instead of 60, so make it even a little bit, again, to handle potholes better. I struggled initially. You literally get swallowed by potholes on this, but that's the Honda Beat, and yeah, super fun. I would say it's also practical if your need is to be able to have a tiny car that you could stash somewhere, and you want a convertible to be able to use it. Hardly uses any gas, as you can imagine, and I definitely keep up in traffic with it despite the 63 horsepower. I don't have any difficulty until I get on the highway. It is not a great car on the highway. I mean, you feel like you're a gnat or something next to 18-wheelers and trucks. So that's not where it's great to use this. I'm able to get it up to about 70 miles an hour. I have driven it on the highway when I drove it home, but it's actually quite loud, to be droning around at 70 miles an hour. I'm at around maybe 7,500 RPM, something like that, if I remember right. So it's pretty loud. Maybe now with the slightly larger tires might be more manageable, but it's not a highway car. It's a backcountry, road car. We're zooming around the neighborhood, and we're going to get takeout. So I hope you enjoyed it, and if you're interested, especially also to see how those 1990 cameras, I'm going to be making an episode on those as well, in the 130 years of cameras in action. And I hope you come and join us again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.